The desert sun beat down hard on the dusty highway that cut through a forgotten town near the U.S.-Mexico border. Most people drove past without stopping, except for truckers, wanderers, and the occasional local looking for a cheap meal. At the edge of the road stood a small diner with a flickering neon sign. Mia's Place. Inside, a tall, quiet man flipped pancakes on the griddle. His name was Jack Hunter, though most people just called him Jack. He wore a faded apron, a weathered face, and eyes that carried stories no one dared ask about. Behind the counter sat his 8-year-old daughter, Mia, doing homework and humming a tune that her mother used to sing, before she died 3 years ago. The diner wasn't just a business. It was Jack's way of staying close to the world without being part of it. Because once upon a time, before the apron and the pancakes, Jack Hunter had been something else entirely, a Delta Force operative, known on the battlefield as Ghost. Chapter 1, The Quiet Before the Storm. It was an ordinary afternoon. The hum of the ceiling fan mixed with country music on the radio. Jack cleaned a table near the window while Mia drew pictures of horses in her notebook. A local deputy, Sheriff Tom Briggs, walked in. "Afternoon, Jack. Got any more of that apple pie?" Jack gave a small smile. "Last slice. You want it with ice cream? You know it." As Jack served the pie, the sheriff lowered his voice. "Word is, a cartel convoy crossed the border last night. 3 trucks, heavy weapons. You hear anything?" Jack shook his head. "I keep my ears on the grill, Sheriff." Briggs sighed. "Yeah. Just keep your little girl close. These guys don't play games." Jack looked out the window, eyes narrowing slightly. "They never do." Chapter 2, Trouble on the Horizon. An hour later, 3 black SUVs rolled up outside the diner, kicking up dust. The engines didn't shut off. Jack's instincts sharpened instantly. The sound of heavy tires. The rhythm of footsteps. The pattern of movement, tactical, but sloppy. He'd seen it before. The door swung open, and 5 men in black jackets walked in. Tattoos crawled up their necks. The leader, a tall man with slicked back hair and gold rings, smiled at Jack. "Nice place you got here, amigo." Jack said nothing. He wiped his hands on his apron and looked at Mia, who was now frozen behind the counter. The man's smile widened. "We're here for a little donation." He tossed a duffel bag on the counter. "Fill it up. Cash, booze, whatever you got." Sheriff Briggs stood slowly from his stool. "You boys picked the wrong diner." The cartel man laughed. "Oh, look. A cowboy with a badge." He pulled a gun. "Sit down, lawman." The sheriff reached for his weapon, but one of the cartel men fired. The shot echoed. Briggs fell to the floor, blood pooling under him. Mia screamed. Jack's heart stopped, for just 1 second. And then, the ghost woke up. Chapter 3, The Ghost Returns. Jack's face changed, calm vanished, replaced by cold precision. Every movement became controlled, efficient, silent. He reached under the counter, where an old Remington shotgun had waited for years. One of the cartel thugs noticed too late. Boom! The man went down hard. Chaos erupted. 2 more pulled their guns, firing wildly. Jack dove behind a booth, grabbed a knife from the table, and in one motion, threw it, dead center in the second man's throat. Mia hid under the counter, shaking. "Stay down, baby. Don't move," Jack whispered between reloads. The leader cursed, firing toward the kitchen. "You messed with the wrong people, gringo." Jack rolled across the floor, grabbing the fallen deputy's pistol. He aimed, fired twice, 2 perfect shots. Both enemies dropped. Smoke filled the diner. Silence followed. Then Jack stood, breathing heavily, scanning for movement. But the leader was gone. Chapter 4, The Cartel Strikes Back. That night, word spread fast. The cartel leader, Luis Navarro, had lost 3 men. His pride, and his business, were bleeding. "Find him," he snarled to his men. "Find the American. Bring me his head." Jack knew they'd come back. He buried the bodies behind the diner and covered the sheriff's car with a tarp. Then he packed a bag for Mia. "We're leaving, sweetheart," he said. "Tonight." "Where are we going, Daddy?" "Somewhere they'll never find us." But deep down, he knew it wasn't true. Because men like Navarro never stopped. And ghosts never ran. Chapter 5, The Second Raid. Near midnight, Jack saw headlights again, more this time. 8 vehicles. Armed men fanning out silently. He moved Mia to the pantry, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Whatever happens, don't come out till I say." Then he grabbed his old military gear from a hidden locker, tactical vest, night vision goggles, and his Delta blade. The ghost was back. The first men broke through the front door, and the diner lights went out. Darkness swallowed them. They whispered nervously in Spanish. "Where is he?" A voice came from behind. "Right here." Jack struck like lightning, silent, brutal, efficient. Gunfire erupted, glass shattered, bodies fell. Every move was a memory, every strike a flashback to forgotten missions. When one of the last men tried to flee, Jack caught him by the collar. "Tell Navarro," he growled, "the ghost sends his regards." Then he threw him through the diner window. Chapter 6, Face to Face. At dawn, Navarro himself arrived, surrounded by SUVs and armed killers. He stepped out, wearing sunglasses and a grin. "Impressive," he said. "You killed 20 of my men. You think you're a hero?" Jack stood on the diner porch, blood on his hands, shotgun in one arm. "No. Just a dad protecting his daughter." Navarro chuckled. "You can't protect her forever. You're just one man." Jack's voice turned to steel. "That's one more than you've got." Navarro raised his hand, signal to fire. But before he could, a helicopter roared overhead. Jack looked up and smirked. Right on time. Chapter 7, Old Friends. From the chopper, 4 men rappelled down, Delta Force operators in full gear. Their leader removed his helmet. "Miss me, Ghost?" It was Major Collins, Jack's old commander. "We tracked the cartel's chatter. Figured you might need a hand." Jack smiled for the first time in years. "You're late." The next 5 minutes were chaos. Gunfire tore through the desert air. Grenades exploded. Navarro's men fell one by one. Jack and Collins moved like a synchronized storm, covering, clearing, and closing in. Finally, Jack found Navarro crawling behind a truck. He aimed his pistol. Navarro raised his hands. "Please, don't." Jack stared coldly. "You threatened my kid." One shot ended it. Chapter 8, The Ghost Fades. After the smoke cleared, the Delta chopper lifted off. Jack stood with Mia in his arms, watching the sun rise over the wrecked diner. Collins approached. "You know, Command still has you listed as Kia." Jack nodded. "Let's keep it that way." Collins smiled. "Ghosts don't die, huh?" Jack looked down at his daughter. "No. They just find something worth living for." Chapter 9, New Beginnings. Months later, a new diner opened in another town, same name, same smile behind the counter. Jack cooked pancakes again, this time with peace in his eyes. Mia ran around with a puppy, laughing. A trucker at the counter glanced at Jack. "You ever serve in the military, pal?" Jack smiled faintly. "Something like that." Outside, the desert wind blew gently, carrying with it whispers of an old legend. The ghost was gone, but his story lived on. Moral. You can take the soldier out of war, but you can't take the courage out of a father's heart. Real heroes